Hey guys, it's Clayton from 316 Creative Works. Hey, listen, if you know me, you know that 316 Creative Works exists to partner with artists, businesses, and churches. One of my good friends is a business guy. It's the Maynard family, and they run a business, and now they're in partnership with us. So that's Precision Door Service. Listen, in case of emergency, I always call Precision Door Service. They are experts in repairing, replacing all your garage doors and overhead doors. They can be reached. They got two numbers. The Indiana side is area code 219 306 8155. Again, 219 306 8155. Now, on the Illinois side, Precision Door Service can be contacted at area code 708 474 6657. The number again is 708 474 6657. You can always get them at precisiongarage-door.com. That's precisiongarage-door.com. Of course, we'll probably have Justin throw a contact card up there for you so you guys can see it if you're watching this. Again, this is Clayton from 316 Creative Works, introducing you to another member of the family, the business of Precision Door Service. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks. Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Clayton with 316 Podcast, 316 Creative Works. Again, we need a special thanks to our house manager, Danielle, our audio engineer, and our producer. Of course, as always, is Justin. We certainly need to thank our creative producer, who is Esther, and Farmhouse Studios. Always thanks to Larry and Sandy. But guys, today we are back with part 3 of Juan Ortiz. Juan, we left off last time. We talked about your dad just went to prison.
Right.
And you just graduated from high school.
Right.
Now, how embarrassing was that?
Well, it was actually the perfect timing because people knew my dad was messed up. They just didn't know who he was. It came out in the paper and different stuff, but luckily a lot of people didn't read it or whatever, but no big deal. But the transition to college, because I wasn't going to go home, I was going to stay with my mom. My youth pastor was the one that said, don't worry about your mom, don't worry about your siblings, the church will have...
Because you promised your mom, I will take care of you. I'm going to go to college. Yeah. I'm going to make millions, and I'm going to buy you a house and a car.
Well, I didn't say millions.
All right, we'll get to there in a couple minutes.
And I didn't say buy a new house. I just said
a house.
You were going to live together. But my youth pastor was like, don't worry about your mom and your siblings. We'll help take care of them. He goes, you need to get an education, and we'll help you. And he literally filled out the application for college, got me enrolled, filled out the financial aid. And to this day, I don't know how my friend Tim got me into my college because my grade point average was on secret probation. I was like... How did I get into school? He goes, don't worry, I had to pull some strings,
I thought I made him an offer.
But now I'm in college, and I am scared to death. I don't know anyone in my entire family that's gone to college. And I still remember the first day I had a Chevy Impala. I bought this old Chevy Impala. It was beautiful.
Did you drop it?
I painted Trans Am on the back, because that was the big car. But I bought the car for $200. That was my car. And I'll never forget, I brought one suitcase of clothes. I had very little clothes.
Did you live on campus? It was kind of a dorm?
Yep. And this was 45 minutes away from my house in Wheaton. Yeah. And my mom and I got in the car, and she cried the whole way there. Yeah. I drove there. Here's what's crazy. I drove there. We walked around campus because we came a couple weeks early because of freshman orientation. Right. That's where I saw Becky.
I was going to say, we're going to get...
I saw Becky. It was like, dear God.
You hear that, Justin? It all comes together.
I didn't say it out loud to God because my mom was next to me. But we walked around campus, and then we sat in my dorm room, and my mom was bawling. She's just crying. Like, you can't, Juan. You can't leave me, Juan. You can't. And then my roommate, Bob, walks in, and his parents, was Bob and his father, Robert, and Roberta, and their sister, Robbie. And it was like, And they're the perfect family, and they're
The
looking at
Wilsons.
me, and can you imagine walking in? I'm like this Mexican guy, and my mom's in the corner crying.
And this is the days of Cheech and Chong.
Oh yeah, it was so bad, but we eventually, and then I had to drive my mom home.
Yeah, I was
that
going
night.
to say, what are you thinking? Because then you had to drive her
I
home and come
literally
back.
drove my mom home. She cried the whole way,
yeah.
and when I got home, she wanted to cook me a meal, so I sat there.
Tamales?
No, once a year is the tamales, but we sat there, and my mom just cried and cried, and then I got in the car because I was pretty strong with her.
Yeah.
But when I got in the car, I cried, and I was scared to death. Driving back, going, I'm a stupid person.
Yeah, you're dumb, and as dysfunctional and as abused as you were, that was what you knew. You could survive that. You didn't know if you could survive.
There's no way. I knew I wouldn't.
And see, this is what stops oftentimes us from being successful.
Yeah.
It's because we just don't know how to do it.
Right.
And even if we do it, I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to become worse than my father because he never had the amount of money that success brought, and so it's going to be a mess.
You know what's ironic is my dad grew up in such a affluent household.
Yeah.
His father, my grandfather, was very successful and was legal resident in the United States. And my dad could have had an education at any school he wanted to in the United States. He was a straight A student. He spoke 4 languages. I mean, literally, my dad could have come to any school he wanted to in the United States. The entire thing paid by his father. And here I'm going to college. I don't have a penny. I have no idea. And by the way, I worked 3 jobs in college. Yep. 3.
So this hot blonde freshman.
Loved her.
She's dating the captain of the football team.
Right.
And you just had a class with her, or
no? We had some common friends. A dear friend of mine, Kevin, who was a suite mate, like in September, said, "Hey, we're going to Denny's to study. You want to come with us?" And he liked me because I'm funny. I'm telling stories.
Yeah.
Well, one of his closest friends is my wife. At that time, it was just this gorgeous woman, and she's at Denny's. We start talking and connecting, and the rest is history. We just became really good friends, even though she was dating Tarzan.
Right,
because trust me, he was Tarzan.
No, chestnut hair.
I mean, I was like, dear God.
Walked around in a loincloth, obviously. Right?
Yeah, one time he looked at me and goes, "Are you looking at my girlfriend?" I'm like, "No, senor, not me, not me." But anyways, we became great friends, and here is a pillar in the change of my life. This confident woman who I end up becoming friends with first, and she loved me. She was patient with me. And then we started dating in the spring of my freshman year, and she has literally transformed my life. God knew that I needed a woman like that.
You needed that woman. I say the same thing. Look, I'm an alcoholic. I say to people often, not only do I say, my wife is the most beautiful blonde I've ever met, but that's the least attractive thing about her. But here's the thing. She's one of the only people that I know who has been able to successfully change her husband. Mm-hmm. Her strength, her attitude, her soft strength of character. I wound up in rehab.
Yeah,
because of her.
Yeah. That was it for me. From the day Becky and I started dating, I just was like, she was a godsend.
Yeah, and so it was like literally 3.5 years of college with this girlfriend.
Yeah,
And college was great. I mean, your dad's in prison.
Very difficult. My dad called me collect almost every day in prison the first year.
But you'd go home and see your mom on weekends. You do your laundry.
Every single weekend, I go home and love my mom. And I worked 3 jobs to send money home.
Yeah, because you got a free ride to college? And where you got scholarship, sponsorships?
Nothing.
You got nothing?
Had to take out loans, had to work to pay my bills, and work to help my mom pay bills. And by the way, during college, I had to help my mom move because you didn't have enough money. We just didn't have enough money. So she would be evicted.
So you get out of college, and do you marry your wife pretty early on?
We married right after college, and I was so ready to go. I was like, she's still saying yes to me, so right. I gotta close the deal.
Capitalize on
before
this.
She.
Right.
And by the way, I want to say this. So many people told her, "What are you doing?
What are you thinking?"
I mean, you literally could have any guy you want, and this is the guy you pick. This guy's got problems.
Right.
This guy's got severe issues emotionally.
Right.
And they were right.
Yeah, they were.
I
And,
did.
and you were going to destroy her.
But you
life.
know what she would say? I know, but I see something so beautiful in this guy's
Now,
heart.
do you think that besides your mom, who's kind of paid to love you, right? Because she's your mom.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that your wife was the first person who saw you for who you could eventually become?
My mom was the first to really ground me in love.
Yeah.
But my wife was the first one to see my potential.
Yeah.
Now, I think my high school coach saw something, my sixth grade teacher, but my wife clearly could see right to my heart and said, there's something really special about him. And she would tell me that over and over because I was so depressed. I had anger problems. And my second book talks all about it. All these things I went through. Yeah. And, but we started dealing. As a matter of fact, I had a kid at 26 years old, and my wife was like, would you be open to getting professional counseling? And oh man, I was like, what? What do you think? I'm crazy?
Pay somebody?
If there was ever a time I was going to come after her, it was that.
Yeah,
but
that's what she said. You have anger issues.
Yeah, but
that got me so
she
angry.
prayed with me, and we talked about it. And I went and got 3 years of professional Christian therapy every Tuesday for 3 years.
Yeah, and it was just somebody to talk to, right? I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah,
psychoanalyst.
I used to give, when I would speak, I give credit to my counselor, and he would tell me, Juan, you're not better because of me.
Right.
You're better because you chose to be better.
Right.
So many people go to therapists or counselors, and they just want to talk.
Yeah.
They don't want to get better.
Right.
My therapist said, from the day you walked in, you wanted to get better. He goes, I can't help you no matter how many degrees I have. You have to want to get better. Yeah. And that's been the difference for me.
Yeah. So kind of normal graduation, normal marriage, right? Your dad's in prison, but outside of that, you found solid ground. You found common place with your wife. You guys started a family, and you're still living in the far western suburbs of Chicago.
Correct.
And what are you doing for a living? Are you bagging groceries? Or are you?
I was a mess.
Job to job.
I started right out of college in a church. I became a youth pastor, and it was a new church, and we raised money, and it was really tough. I made $14,000 a year.
A year.
It's
not funny.
It isn't funny. It was sad. And my wife actually made more money than me. Mm-hmm. And she basically paid most of the bills, did our budget, wrote the checks, and she was incredible. She was absolutely a pit bull when it came to the details in life. And I just slid into depression. As a matter of fact, I left youth work. I still stayed at the church, but I left youth work after 3 years. And I must have been in and out of 10 different jobs over the next 10 years.
But so somewhere in that story, you actually became a Christian, not just going to church.
No, I became a Christian when we were first saved from that farm.
Okay, so 13 years old-ish.
Yeah, 12 years old. I heard Jesus, went to camp, gave my life. But it took me years to mature.
Yeah, I understand. But so that's amazing. My mom was 12 years
Really?
old too when she became a Christian at an outreach church.
Okay.
Very similar years. So so eventually, I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and say late 90s, early 2000s. You're looking for another job because you had one job a year for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You're doing what you always do. Look, the one page, and you eventually see an article, a little snippet that says, no training necessary. If you can talk and walk, we're gonna train you.
It was weird because my wife, back before internet, way back before any of these things you could find online, we would go to the newspaper for job ads. Yeah. And my wife sees a little 1-inch by 1-inch advertisement saying online credit card processing. And she goes, why don't you set an appointment with us? And I set up a couple of appointments. And so I did. But I actually, on one of my interviews, I actually was offered a job with a major airline in sales. And I'm like, yes, I was so pumped. And I got home and I said, I think I'm going to get this job. And she goes, great. How did that online credit card? I go, well,
I don't know.
Well, that's Friday. I don't want to go to that. I mean, I got a job. She goes, no, but listen to the wisdom of my wife.
All right.
This is 1999. She goes, Juan, I don't know what credit card processing is.
But it might take off someday.
But I do think, here's what she said, I do think online is is the way to go.
Yeah.
This is 1999. This is my wife telling me.
There wasn't online back then.
No, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what online is.
Yeah. How do you spell it?
So she just, do me a favor. Did you set up the interview? I go, yeah. She goes, just go to it. Yeah. So I went that Friday, and it was chaos. The interview really fell apart. The guy that was supposed to interview me went out on an appointment.
Yeah, he didn't show up.
But I met with his boss, a woman named Kristen, who was unbelievable. Yeah. And before I left that office an hour later, I'd accepted the job there.
So 1999, you stumble backwards into the credit card merchant service processing industry.
Yeah, I did.
Which is what I stumbled into, which is actually...
That's how we met.
How Juan and I, is through my day job and through your day job, how we met. Yeah. But so you're there you're in that industry, in that company, doing that thing. You're shucking and jiving, and you're growing the ladder, and you're making sales, and you're doing the thing. And Kristen was your boss, which, by the way, is incredible business, incredible story, incredible person, business leaders over there, fierce competitors of mine for years and years. But you rode that train, and you became a big part of that company, a big part of that community, a big part of the industry. In my world, from my corner, Juan Ortiz was a huge player in one of the largest credit card processors in America.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, that's the story that that everybody starts kicking into, like, oh, I get your company, I get who you are, I know you, I know all that. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
That's nothing short of God.
Right. And I think that I would tell you this is so many of us, I remember feeling desperate to know what I'm supposed to do with my life. I'm job after job. I just can't succeed. We're broke. Yeah. And I get this job. And even then I had to drive an hour one way to get to the office, and an hour, in winter would take 3 hours. And so I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Even at the beginning, I didn't know. But here's what I didn't realize. When I took that job, I was working under a team of people, starting with the CEO, who ended up becoming a mentor for me.
Yeah,
John. But John and Kristen and Nicole and Bob and all these guys formed this team that eventually, a couple years later, they would include me in that team. Yeah. And that team just was incredible.
Yeah, went on to change. That team went on to change a lot of the ways that credit cards are processed in America. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to overstate here, and I don't want to be too generous to you. But that team went on, and you got asked to join that team and partner into that team, correct?
Yes.
And you actually had some stock and some valuation. You actually had some ownership.
Yeah.
In that new team, which started a new thing,
right?
Which kind of exploded.
Yeah, I had shares in the company, and those were given to me.
Yeah.
Because of my hard work, because of how I'd done, our CEO felt like you deserve some of this.
Yeah, and then you grew the team, and you became like the main sales hub, the sales recruiter, the sales trainer. You would go and you would get the sales force and build the sales force. And Juan, you've had just an incredible 15 years.
This is my 21st year.
Yeah.
But I ran that sales team probably for 15 years. And then we eventually sold the company in 2017.
And that's really when you get your paycheck, right?
Yeah, actually I got 2 paychecks along the way. Okay, we originally sold the company to a private equity firm who then asked us to stay on as shareholders for another 5 or 6 years, and then we sold it again in 2017. So I made 2 small little pops. And let me tell you, I'm completely humbled. Yeah. Coming from where I did, literally poverty and welfare and the life I came, that first pop was mind-boggling. Right. Now, for some guys, they're like, good job, Juan, that was nice. But for me, it was overwhelming.
That's right.
I could have actually quit right then.
Yeah.
But
you could have been done.
We stayed on.
Right. Because what else are you going to do, right? I mean, at the time, you were probably, 45?
Oh,
46?
trust me. I was 51.
50 then, okay.
But there was plenty of things to do. Like, I was like, okay, I'm going to start, really paying for my own things now. Yeah. And but here's the key. There is no price tag to have a business mentor like I had in John.
That's right.
And in my second book, I dedicate several chapters to key basic principles that helped me.
Yeah, so I've had that too. So it's amazing how different your story is than mine, but how similar they are.
Yeah.
Because I've had a very similar, very different, but kind of similar story.
Yeah.
Similar coming to Jesus.
Yeah.
Very similar falling backwards into an incredible career that I just tried the best in, and had a business mentor in Brian who did a very similar thing and grew this amazing company. And it's been a great career and job for me too. But along the way, you had other dreams. You started a public speaking career.
Yeah.
Which has gone great.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I met you in the industry as a public speaker, as a keynote speaker.
Still
at
remember
one of the great regional conferences I was at.
I was speaking at this conference.
Yeah.
There's like 500 or 600 people.
Yeah.
And people were lining up to say hello to me or
Everybody
ask
wants
me
Juan's
questions.
signature,
And I
right?
could see you standing in the background. You wouldn't get in line. You just kind of waited.
I don't wait in line for anybody.
I know. And so when it was done, I was walking by and you're like, can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, that was it. That was awesome. And you also have preached.
Yeah, so when we started that church and I was a youth pastor, we started that 1985.
Yeah.
And I started as a youth pastor, and I would speak in youth group and stuff. And eventually my senior pastor allowed me to speak in church. And then I became good enough where I could be on the speaking team.
Right.
And a teacher, and then I became an elder, and I ran the men's ministry for 15 years. But the entire time, I was a public speaker. I was speaking in high schools
Right.
and other churches, and
Because you are, in my opinion, one of the greatest motivational speakers.
oh man,
And
thanks.
it's not it's because you're funny, a little silly, self-deprecating humor, and you have a God-sized story that just preaches. You don't even have to say the name
It's
Jesus.
ridiculous.
And it preaches.
Yeah.
So God has gifted you
Yeah.
with a broken story. So do you see the value and the gift that story actually is now?
Now you're gonna read in my book.
What was the second one?
The second book, which is
Which I just got. Yep.
Yeah, it's called Always Learning.
Yeah.
But in college, my sophomore year, I was at chapel because I went to a Christian college, and I was at chapel, and I heard this guy speak, an author and a speaker named Tony Campolo.
Yeah, I love him.
And when I told Becky, I think I'd like to be a speaker,
I'm gonna do that.
Immediately my wife grabs my hand. We run up to meet him. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you, nuts?
Yeah, I can't talk.
Look at me. I'm a deviant. People like me don't meet guys like that. And
I'm dumb, right?
Yeah. She pulls me up. She goes, hi, Mr. Campolo. And she tells him who we are. And my husband wants to be a speaker. And we actually had lunch with the guy.
Nice.
And I remember leaving there and getting depressed. And my wife's like, what is wrong with you? She was my girlfriend at the time. I'm like, Becky, I'm not smart.
I'll never be that guy.
You have to write books.
Yeah,
you
right.
have to. I can't be a speaker. Are you kidding me? Right. Everything I said that I was not good on are the topics I speak on today.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Every single reason I said no.
So this is incredible. So you just told us your story,
Right.
and your mom has lived with you,
Yeah.
most of your life.
Right.
You made an awful lot of money,
Yes.
and on top of that, 2 additional paychecks.
Yeah.
When you sold different things, you've been married to the same woman for 36 years. Right. You have 5. You have five
amazing kids. Half Mexican, half German. Yeah, they're just
they're like the UN. Your whole family's like a walking UN.
they're good-looking kids. A couple of them are scary, but outside of that,
the girls, right?
I'm way beyond anything I could ever imagine.
Again, you bat out of your league, right?
Yeah.
You just, and I thanks for bringing it today. I'm so excited to read this because I read your first book. Of course, I knew your story. The book filled in the blanks for me. But you just released your second book that I'm excited to read. It is the Juan Ortiz Journey, Always Learning.
Right.
You mind if I just read a segment?
Sure, go ahead.
This is great. All right, now when you guys get this book, you're going to see this. I mean, your whole life, right? Your dysfunctional birth,
Yep.
your dysfunctional childhood, right? The abuse, the embarrassment, the dumbness, your dad, your mom's brokenheartedness, your siblings, you're moving to Chicago, the farmhouse years, right? Going to high school and and then going to college and then falling backwards into a relationship and then falling backwards into an amazing career that really changed everything for you. You've learned a couple of things.
Right.
Right, and your heart's cry, correct me if I'm wrong, is men's ministries.
Right.
Like you want to really speak into the heart and lives of men.
Yeah.
To make them better dads and husbands.
Yeah.
Right. That's where you hang your hat.
That's my main goal.
And so after all of these life experiences, after writing 2 books, and after all of your failures,
Yep.
after all of your successes, your God story leads you to these 6 things. You got really 6 things.
Yeah,
that you can
I
hang
thought
your hat
about
on,
it
right?
over the years, and what were the keys? And people would ask me, what were the
What are the
keys?
keys?
And these are the 6 things I came
And
up
here
with.
they are. You're the 6 pillars in your life that has led to all of your success. Is 1, dream big.
Dream big.
Number 2, get mentors. Number 3, set goals.
Yeah.
Right. Now the wheels start coming off, right? Because we can all dream. We can all
that's
have
pretty
friends
easy.
that know better. We can all say, I want to do this, want to do this. And this is where the wheels start coming off. Number 4 is work a plan,
Tough to do.
right?
Tough to do.
Number 5 is take action.
Yeah.
But then you end with probably the most important one, the one that Jesus left us with, which is to serve others.
Yeah. That's the life-changing transformation. And you know why? When I went back and I wrote my first book and I interviewed people, what transformed me was that last one. People served me, my mentors, those people. And I realized the only way to get ahead in life is to help others get ahead. It's the only way.
Yeah.
That is a success principle that is taught by the Bible, that's taught by Jesus. He came to serve.
Yeah.
And those principles basically have been the keys to me getting up every day, feeling good about myself, loving the people in my life, and just keeping positive about what's next in my life.
And you know what? And what are you 56?
59.
59. You don't look a day over 60.
Thank you.
Congratulations, man. You look, but here's the thing.
Hey, listen, I didn't think I'd live to 30,
I
so
know.
I'm really,
I know you
really happy.
dodged a bullet there. But listen, here's the truth, man. I'm a really honest person.
Yep.
I don't.
Which I love about you.
I don't. I don't stroke people easily.
Right.
I'm super excited for you,
Thank you.
for what's next.
Yeah.
Because if God can do all of this in the first 60, imagine what he's able to do with the last 30.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, it is so exciting.
Thank you.
I'm so honored and humbled that you would come all the way from your mansion in the west suburbs of Chicago to the little crazy farmhouse, right?
Yeah.
To sit here with me and to pour out your
I loved
wisdom.
it.
Bro,
This is incredible.
Your story, as broken as it is a gift from God.
Yeah.
Before we go, did your dad ever get out of prison?
My dad did get out of prison after 18 years. He was deported to Mexico.
Oh, he was.
And he lived for 6 years before he died of a heart attack.
Yeah. After that. And did he ever become a Christian?
In prison, he did.
Amen.
Yeah.
So that's
You want to know the crazy
Amazing.
part is? I went to visit my dad every month for 18 years. And that it was actually through my life that he came back to Jesus.
come on.
Through my own life.
Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's beautiful.
You can't make that stuff up.
Juan, I love you. I'm so grateful that you were here.
Thank
Hey
you.
guys, thanks for checking us out. 316 podcast for 316 Creative Works. We're talking with Juan Ortiz. Thanks for showing up, guys. Hey, this is Clayton from 316 Creative Works, talking about our podcast. Listen, if you like any of this stuff that you saw or you heard, I'm going to give you a couple places where you might find it besides coming in live to the Farmhouse Studios. There's a couple platforms you can find these on. So you can check out Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and SoundCloud. So for the cheap seats in the back there, let me say this one more time. You can go to Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and SoundCloud. You can find it under 316 Podcasts.